In the late 17th century, the fate of an entire continent hinged on the walls of a single city. A clash of empires, a collision of worlds, was imminent. On one side, the formidable Ottoman Empire, a sprawling power stretching across 3 continents, led by Sultan Mehmed IV, and commanded on the field by the ambitious Grand Vizier, Mustafa Pasha. On the other, the heart of the Holy Roman Empire, defended by the Habsburg monarchy under Emperor Leopold I, and standing between them, a jewel of the Danube, Vienna. This was not just a battle for a city. It was a struggle for the future of Europe itself. Soon, a cavalry charge of unprecedented scale would thunder across the plains, its echoes reverberating through the corridors of history. Today, we journey back to 1683 to uncover how the Siege of Vienna reshaped borders, forged new alliances, and signaled the dawn of a new geopolitical era. If you are captivated by epic history, grand strategy, and the pivotal moments that define our world, then like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Here, history comes alive. For centuries, the Ottoman Empire had been a force of relentless expansion. Its rise was meteoric. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 had sent shockwaves across Christendom, establishing the Ottomans as a dominant power. The Balkans had been absorbed into their vast domain. Much of Hungary had already bowed to Ottoman campaigns. By the 1680s, the empire was at its zenith, a sophisticated military and administrative machine. Grand Vizier Mustafa Pasha, a man of immense ambition and power, saw Vienna as the ultimate prize. It wasn't just a strategic city, it was the symbolic heart of his Habsburg rivals. Capturing Vienna would shatter the Holy Roman Empire's prestige, secure Ottoman dominance in Central Europe, and open the gateway for further expansion into the German states and Italy. For Mustafa, this was to be his crowning achievement, a victory that would etch his name alongside the greatest sultans. He gathered a colossal army, a diverse force of janissaries, sepahi, cavalry, and troops from across the empire ready to deliver a decisive blow. In the summer of 1683, this mighty host, it's estimated at over 100,000 soldiers, arrived before the walls of Vienna. The sheer scale of the Ottoman camp was breathtaking. A sprawling city of tents, banners, and siege engines that stretched for miles. Inside the city, the situation was dire. Emperor Leopold I and his court had fled, leaving the defense in the hands of a skeleton force of around 15,000 soldiers and citizen militia. Their commander was Count Ernst Rüdiger von Starhemberg, a hardened veteran who knew the odds were overwhelmingly against him. But Vienna was no easy target. The city was protected by state-of-the-art fortifications, a complex system of star-shaped bastions, ravelins, and moats designed to withstand artillery bombardment. As the Ottoman cannons began to roar, the defenders braced for the inevitable. The siege began in earnest. Ottoman sappers, masters of siege warfare, began digging a web of trenches and tunnels, inching ever closer to the city walls with the goal of planting mines to breach the defenses. Day after day, the city endured relentless bombardment. Food supplies dwindled, disease spread through the crowded streets, and hope began to fade. Starhemberg sent desperate pleas for help, knowing that, without a relief army, Vienna's fall was only a matter of time. Explosion. Each assault on the walls tightened the noose. Vienna was on the verge of collapse. As Vienna teetered on the brink, a wave of alarm spread across Europe. The fall of the city would have catastrophic consequences for the entire continent. In this moment of crisis, a coalition began to form. Pope Innocent XI worked tirelessly behind the scenes, using diplomatic and financial leverage to unite the fractured Christian powers against a common threat. The decisive figure to emerge from this diplomatic scramble was the King of Poland and Grand Duke of Lithuania, John III Sobieski, an experienced and brilliant military commander. Sobieski saw the Ottoman advance not just as a threat to the Habsburgs, but as a danger to his own kingdom and to all of Christendom. He answered the call. Against a backdrop of old rivalries, he forged the Holy League, a powerful alliance of Polish, Austrian, and German forces. Sobieski himself took command of the combined relief army. Gathering his forces, including the formidable Polish-Lithuanian army, he began a swift and daring march toward Vienna. The race against time was on. Every day mattered. The defenders of Vienna were hanging on by a thread, and the Ottoman forces were preparing for their final, decisive assault. At dawn on September 12, 1683, a coalition army appeared on the heights of the Kahlenberg, a series of wooded hills overlooking Vienna and the vast Ottoman camp below. The sight of the relief force, their banners unfurling in the morning light, was a shot of adrenaline for the city's exhausted defenders. For Kara Mustafa, it was a strategic nightmare. He was now caught between the city's walls and a fresh, powerful army at his back. The battle for Vienna began. Fighting raged throughout the day as coalition infantry descended the slopes, engaging Ottoman positions in the hills and vineyards. The combat was brutal and attritional, a desperate struggle for every inch of ground. By late afternoon, the coalition had fought its way onto the plains, but the Ottoman lines, though battered, still held firm. The moment of decision had arrived. Sobieski gave the order. What happened next was the largest cavalry charge in the history of warfare. More than 18,000 horsemen, a tidal wave of steel and courage, began their descent. At the vanguard were the legendary Winged Hussars of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Clad in brilliant armor, with large feathered wings attached to their backs, they were a terrifying and awe-inspiring sight. The wings were not just for show. As they charged, the feathers vibrated, creating a haunting, ethereal roar that was said to demoralize the enemy before contact was even made. Led by Sobieski himself, the Hussars thundered across the plain, their lances leveled, aimed at the heart of the Ottoman command. The psychological impact was devastating. The sheer momentum and ferocity of the charge shattered the resolve of the weary Ottoman soldiers. The lines buckled, broke, and then dissolved into a panicked retreat. The siege was broken. Vienna was saved. In a letter to the Pope, Sobieski famously paraphrased Caesar, writing, "Veni vidi Deus vicet." I came, I saw, God conquered. The aftermath of the Battle of Vienna was transformative. The defeat was a catastrophic blow to the Ottoman Empire, from which it would never fully recover in Europe. It marked the definitive end of Ottoman expansion and the beginning of a long, slow retreat from the continent. In the years that followed, the Holy League continued its offensive, pushing the Ottomans out of Hungary and the Balkans. The Treaty of Karlowitz, signed in 1699, formalized these massive territorial changes. The Habsburg monarchy emerged from the conflict significantly strengthened, its influence now dominant in Central and Southeastern Europe. Poland, under Sobieski, enjoyed a brief period of immense prestige, celebrated as the saviors of Christendom. The balance of power had fundamentally and permanently shifted. The threat that had loomed over Europe for centuries had been decisively checked. Beyond the battlefield and the treaties, the Siege of Vienna left a deep and lasting cultural legacy. Legends and stories bloomed in the wake of the victory. One popular tale claims that the Viennese coffeehouse culture was born from the sacks of coffee, beans left behind in the hastily abandoned Ottoman camp. Another story suggests that the croissant, the crescent-shaped pastry, was created by Viennese bakers to commemorate the defeat of the Ottoman Crescent. While many of these tales have been romanticized over time, they speak to the profound cultural exchange and impact of this historical moment. The event itself became a powerful symbol in European art, music, and literature, a story of desperate courage and divine deliverance. The Winged Hussars, in particular, were immortalized. Their charge at Vienna became their defining moment, cementing their reputation as one of the most effective and visually striking cavalry units in military history. They embodied an ideal of chivalry, discipline, and unstoppable power. Their image, the gleaming armor, the iconic wings. The unwavering courage continues to capture the imagination today, preserved in museums, historical reenactments, and the collective memory of a nation. They stand as a testament to a time when a well-timed, audacious cavalry charge could change the course of history. The Siege of Vienna in 1683 was far more than a single battle. It was a historical crossroads, a moment where the future of Europe hung in the balance. It was a clash of grand strategies, a test of military innovation, and a powerful demonstration of what can be achieved through unlikely alliances. It reshaped the map of Europe, redefined the art of diplomacy, and altered the geopolitical trajectory of an entire continent for centuries to come. It serves as a timeless reminder that in the grand sweep of history, a single day, a single act of collective courage, can indeed determine the destiny of nations. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most pivotal moments, please show your support by liking this video, sharing it with fellow history enthusiasts, and subscribing to the channel for more epic stories. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We'll see you in the next episode.